Hi, it's Kathleen from Bailey Academy, mom of 5, homeschooling 3 of them, ages 10, 13, and 17. Today I wanted to share some books. Books that my youngest daughter will be using as readers, books that my son will be using as readers, and books that we may use as read-alouds. So I got lots of books so you can't see in front of me here. We'll go through them. So first, my daughter. So she's going into grade 5, and I have picked out some books. She's a pretty good reader, but she has trouble with reading comprehension. So I picked easier books than she could read, just so that we can focus more on understanding that when you read something, you're supposed to understand it. Because she just reads through it and is like, yep, done. She can mostly tell me what happened, but we could work on that. So I picked, all these books are from my shelves because I like that we can just read them whenever. There's only one book that's a read aloud that's from the library. The rest are here. So I have My Father's Dragon. I've seen this before on YouTube, so some of you may know this one. It's very skinny, and I believe has, I can't remember, I think it's just one story, or maybe it has a couple tales, I can't remember now, but it's just a story about a boy who, I think it's a boy, who is crossing an island to find a dragon, and he has a backpack of things. It reminds me of Dora, because he has a backpack of things that, he uses to get through obstacle after obstacle. So it's very small, will be an easy read, and we can work on retelling and stuff like that. Love That Dog is in, what do you call it, verse, like it's like poetry, but in a storybook. And so we were supposed to use this last year with lighting literature, but we never finished lighting literature, so it's very light read. And she loves dogs, so she can love the title. The Secret Garden, this is not the full Secret Garden, this is a shorter retelling of the Secret Garden. Obviously, the Secret Garden is a lot bigger than that, but I figured we could start with this, and if she really loves it, then one day she might want to read the Secret Garden, but for now, since I have this, we'll start with this. So it's just a small, falling apart book, apparently. So we'll do that one. I have this one here. This one I got for review. Danny Dollar, Millionaire Extraordinaire, The Lemonade Escapade by Ty Allen Jackson. So there's a book, a video somewhere where I shared the other books that I got from the author, but this one's the only one that was fiction, so it's a little one. So it says, being a future millionaire isn't easy. When Pablo and his pack of knuckleheads sabotaged my lemonade stand, things got bad. When the mayor got involved, things got worse. But when the last person in the world I would have expected enters the picture, all heck breaks loose. So if you don't like the word heck, I may not like that one, but it doesn't bother me. Flat Stanley. This is Worldwide Adventures Framed in France. Again, another skinny book. So he goes to Paris and posing as a painting in the museum on a wall, but he grows bored until he meets a talented art student who shows him around the City of Light. When Stanley returns to the museum, he soon realizes the Mona Lisa looks different. It's been switched for a fake. Will Stanley be able to nab the thief before he or she strikes again? I also have the story of Dr. Dolittle. I definitely wanted this because she's doing zoology this year. And obviously this is, if you know the story, this is all about animals. The guy who talks to animals. So definitely wanted to do that one. It's skinny, but it has small words. So I may, since it's a little older, I may need to help her. I'm not sure. I've never actually read it. So, and then I have Charlotte's Web, which is not as skinny, and I'm sure everybody knows what Charlotte's Web is. We've been putting it off, even though most people do it younger, just because of the sad ending and the spider. My daughter's petrified of spiders. So I'm going to get her to understand that some stories have, she doesn't seem to think this story should have hardships. It's not a good story, but if there's something bad happens. So I'm trying to get her to love this book because it's an awesome book, and I think she's ready to read books about spiders, especially since it's such a good spider, and I will be here with her at the end. If you for sure don't know the end, it's not a happy ending, but it's a good story. And this one I picked, which is actually, I guess it's technically might be nonfiction, but Gary Paulson, that's the guy who does Hatchet, I believe. My Life in Dog Years. So this is stories of dogs he actually owned. So among them are Snowball, the puppy he owned as a boy in the Philippines, Ike, the mysterious hunting companion, Electric Fred and his best friend Pig, Dirk, the grim protector, and Josh, one of the remarkable border collies that works on his ranch today, or at least when the book was written. Yeah, the Hatchet. This is the guy that writes Hatchet. So I thought she would enjoy that as, again, dogs. So, so those are the books I picked out for her to work on. We're going to work on them little by little each day, not like a long amount each day, so we have other things to do. So I don't know if we'll need more than that or not, but that's what I picked out for her. Now, for my Rising Grade 8, I have a stack here. We do fiction, then nonfiction, then fiction, then nonfiction. We alternate. So the first I'm going to show you all the fiction choices I have, then I'll show you all the nonfiction choices I put aside, and I'm going to lay them out and he can decide which one he wants to do. So I'm giving him ones to choose from that I'd like him to read, but he can still ultimately choose which one. So he may not do all of these. These are just choices. So the first one is a classic, Treasure Island, by Robert Louis Stevenson. So yeah, like this is a classic. The words are pretty big in my copy, so it's not, and he's a super reader, so I'm not worried about that or anything. He could read, like, I don't know, everything. College level things, probably. Okay, I was going to say it says printed, copyright 2006, but that's not when the original story was written, so that's not really helpful. I was looking at when it was written. So, Treasure Island, I figured a classic would be a good choice. I wanted him to read something more newer and that his sister loved, so we decided to put in the Hunger Games. Plus, the storyline is kind of more something he would find interesting. So my daughter has all the other books, I think, or at least most of them. So if he by chance, loved them, he could keep going. But he's not one that likes to read on his own. Actually, that's not true. He reads on his own, but only online. He doesn't like reading physical books. But I'm trying to get him to understand the love of paperback. This one's called Restart. I just found it, I can't remember, either one of the free books or cheap books that I got, but I've actually seen it talked about before. It says, Chase doesn't remember falling off the roof. He doesn't remember hitting his head. He doesn't, in fact, remember anything. He wakes up in a hospital room and suddenly has to learn his whole life all over again, starting with his own name. He knows he's Chase, but who is Chase? When he gets back to school, he sees that different kids have very different reactions to his return. Some kids treat him like a hero. Some kids are clearly afraid of him. One girl in particular is so angry with him that she pours her frozen yogurt on his head the first chance she gets. Pretty soon it's not only a question of who Chase is, it's a question of who he was and who he's going to be. I thought that sounded interesting. Another classic, The Call of the Wild by Jack London. Most people know what this is. Wolves and dogs and all kinds of fun stories. So, like I said, I wanted to include some classics. This poor book has been beat up a little bit when I got it like this. But Sinbad the Sailor and Other Tales from the Arabian Nights, another classic. And it's not too long. He tends to pick the shorter books, so he may actually pick some of these classics just because they're shorter. He doesn't seem to get that the best story isn't necessarily the shortest story. But I thought that was interesting. This one I've heard lots about, The City of Ember. We got this one for free or cheap, I can't remember. So I don't have the rest of them, but I thought it'd be good. So if you don't know what it is, it says, citizens of Ember shall be assigned work at 12 years of age. Lena Mayfleet desperately wants to be a messenger. Instead, she draws the dreaded job of pipeworks laborer, which means she'll be working in damp tunnels deep underground. Dune Harrow draws messenger and asks Lena to trade. Dune wants to be underground. That's where the generator is, and Dune has ideas about how to fix it. For as long as anyone can remember, the great lights of Ember have kept the endless darkness at bay. But now the lights are beginning to flicker. So, sounds interesting. The Outsiders. This is I think it's considered another classic. If not, it's at least older. And he was one he was supposed to do with his Right at Home curriculum last year, but we didn't finish that curriculum. And I already bought the book, and it's something for middle school to high schoolers anyway, so I figured it'd be perfect. Pony Boy is 14, tough and confused, yet sensitive beneath his bold front. Since his parents' death, his loyalties have been to his brothers and his gang, the rough, swinging, long-haired boys from the wrong side of the tracks. When his best friend kills a member of a rival gang, a nightmare of violence begins and swiftly envelops Pony Boy in a turbulent chain of events. So obviously not for everybody, but I'm okay with almost said my husband, my son reading this kind of thing. Although he's 13, he's, I don't know, I can't really say mature for his age, but like he mature in his reading of what he reads and understands. All right, another classic, I guess, The Black Stallion. I also have The Son of the Black Stallion if we ever want to use it. But I don't know if he'd want to pick this, and horses aren't his thing, but you never know. Guess I have more classics here than I thought I did. And The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, which again is a classic. But you know, classics are classics for a reason, so I thought this would be a good one as well. If you don't know this one, to escape from his violent, drunken father, Huckleberry Finn, a 13-year-old boy from the wrong side of the tracks, fakes his own death and floats away on a raft down the Mississippi River with Jim, a runaway slave. In a series of unforgettable adventures narrated by Huck, they encounter a cross-section of characters from slave hunters, thieves, and con men to feuding aristocrats. It's a dark, funny satire exposing the bigotry and hypocrisy of provincial America during Twain's lifetime. So it's got some history kind of in it too. So those are the fiction that he's going to be reading or choosing from to read for his school. And then I have a wide variety of nonfiction. So first of all, I do these in a certain order. I have a couple of children's nonfiction. So I have a book about Rosa Parks. We did learn about her, but we have a whole book here if he wants to read that. And I have 2 little books about geography. I have My Weird School Fast Facts Geography by Dan Gutman. This is My Weird School has lots of different books, but fiction and nonfiction, so it's not a very big read. It won't take, but the blinds won't take long to read that. And I Wish I Knew That Geography, Cool Stuff You Need to Know. This is, there we go, no lines if I hold it back here. It's got lots of information on, like, lakes and continents and GPS and different areas, volcanoes, all kinds of stuff. I also picked out, he likes these, well, this is a DK book. I mean, everybody loves DK books, but Danger. So he loves reading stuff that's not, how do I explain it, but like Danger is something that he'd find interesting. But what I meant more so was that these books that have like lots of different things about different topics, he read a bunch of these last year. So this kind of thing would interest him. I also have Canada Year by Year. This is a Kids Can Press book. If you're a Canadian, this is a good book if you want your kid to read a little bit about so like kind of like a timeline but with more information. So it goes over 1867 when the country is born to 2017 because that's when this book was made, and everything in between. And if he wants to read more about wars, I have Canada's Wars, an illustrated history. So this one has real photographs as well as not illustrations, but yeah, whatever. It's mostly real photographs. So that, but I also grabbed some of the Everything You Need to Ace One Big Fat Notebook books. I grabbed the World History one. I figured that's not something he's studying this year, but if he wants to just read about world history, go for it. And Computer and Science and Coding, which is something he sort of likes on his own terms anyway. And the last 3 nonfiction books I grabbed are adult nonfiction, but I will double check them to make sure that they're okay for his age, but I think they are. One is Gulp by Mary Roach. Now I know that she does have books that are not appropriate for him, but I'm pretty sure when I read this one it was fine, but I will look into it. So if you know something that I don't, let me know. But again, he's read lots of stuff, so there's, as long as it's not like descriptive certain things, that doesn't really bother me. But this one's if you don't know this book, it's really funny and interesting. It says America's funniest science writer takes us down the hatch on an unforgettable tour of our insides. In Gulp, we meet scientists who tackle the questions no one else thinks of or has the courage to ask. Why is crunchy food so appealing? Why is it so hard to find names for flavors and smells? How much can you eat before your stomach bursts? Can constipation kill you? Did it kill Elvis? It's very interesting, and I love her other books too. I also picked up a biography on Elon Musk. I don't know if that's something he'd be interested in or not, but it's one a book that I grabbed to read at some point, and since it's about, you know, somebody he knows, and science, I thought it would be interesting. But it is, you know, a full fiction book. A nonfiction book. And then I have The Tetris Effect, the game that hypnotized the world. He's into games, not necessarily Tetris, but like gaming, so that this would be a good one that possibly that he might want to read. So he has to pick from those. One fiction, one nonfiction, one fiction, one nonfiction. He also has another book that he's going to be reading that I just wanted to show you with his ancient China studies that I got from Amazon, Tales from China. I will link all these books on Amazon in the description in case you want to check them out or buy them. So Tales from China, from the conquerors of chaos to fairies, ghosts, demons, and of course dragons. These magical tales from China will bring to life all the mystery and wonder of the East. Second, I name a drink. Okay, and the last section I want to show you is read aloud choices. So the one that I don't have because it's currently, I had to put it back at the library, is the third in the Wild Robot series. We're only a little bit into it. They do want to finish it, although so far we're not liking it as much as the other two. So I'm going to get that back from the library when we start school. We're going to reread probably the little bit we did, maybe, or finish what we have. And then I have these books to choose from to read this year. So, starting with The Moffats. This is by Eleanor Estes. And it says, meet the Moffats. There is Sylvie, the oldest and cleverest, and most days at least the responsible one. Joey, who though only 12 is the man of the house, sometimes. Janie, who has a terrific upside-down way of looking at the world. And Rufus, who may be the littlest but always gets in the biggest trouble. Even the most ordinary Moffat day is packed with extraordinary fun. Only a Moffat could get locked in a bread box all afternoon, or dance with a dog in front of the whole town, or hitch a ride on a boxcar during kindergarten recess. And only a Moffat could turn mistakes and mischief into hilarious one-of-a-kind adventures. Sounds interesting. Mr. Popper's Penguins. Most people know this was made into a movie with Jim Carrey. You may watch the movie afterwards. The lovable Mr. Popper dreams of being an intrepid Antarctic explorer living life among the penguins alongside his hero, Admiral Drake. So he is shocked one day when the Admiral responds to his fan letter by sending him a package containing a real-life penguin. Soon this penguin is joined by another, and before long Mr. Popper has an ice rink in his basement and a dozen delightful penguins living in his house. With hardly enough money to feed his family and an ever-increasing bill for raw fish and canned shrimp, what can the wonderfully imaginative Mr. Popper do but train his penguins and take the show on the road? Most of you will recognize this as well. This is Wonder, which was also made into a movie. I also have another book, if we like it enough, that is like up 3 stories that like go after Wonder, I guess, with the same people and same characters and stuff like this. It doesn't actually... Oh, here it is. Okay. August, or Augie, Pullman was born with a facial deformity that prevented him from going to a mainstream school until now. He's about to enter 5th grade at Beecher Prep, and if you've ever been the new kid, then you know how hard that can be. The thing is, Augie's just an ordinary kid, but with an extraordinary face. But can he convince his new classmates that he's just like them despite his appearances? So this is a good book to teach kids about, you know, treating others how we want to be treated and not treating others differently just because they look different. So that's a good one. We might also read The One and Only Bob. My son did The One and Only Ivan himself when he was in public school, and I did The One and Only Ivan with my daughter year ago. Yeah, I think it was a year ago. Yeah, last year. And so The One and Only Bob is one that we might do. I'm running out of time here. I'm according to my clock. The Swiss Family Robinson, an old classic. I'm just going to show you really quick. Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli. This when the kid is homeschooled, so that's really cool. It says Stargirl right there. The Borrowers. Anne of Green Gables. My phone's going to turn off any second. Focused, which was about kids with ADHD. So it says here, Clea can't control her thoughts. She knows she has to do her homework, but she gets distracted. She knows she can't just say whatever thoughts come into her head, but sometimes she can't help herself. She knows she needs to focus, but how can she do that when people around her are always chewing gum loudly or making other annoying noises? It's starting to be a problem, not just in school, but when Clea's playing chess or just hanging out with her best friend. Other kids are starting to notice. When Clea fails one too many tests, her parents take her to be tested, and she finds out she has ADHD. And it goes on. I'm running out of time again. And The Art of the Swap. 2 kids, one from the 1900s and one from present time, swap places. My phone died again, but I just wanted to finish off that was the last of the books. And let me know if you've read any of them to your kids, or they've read any of them and they like them or they don't like them, or even have suggestions in case those don't work out. Otherwise, have a good day. Bye.